CBT News, celebrating 10 years of delivering the news and content automotive professionals count on. CBT News, 10 years strong. Subscribe today. Welcome to CBT News with Bridget Fitzpatrick.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to CBT News. I'm Bridget Fitzpatrick. Thank you so much for joining us. Today on Inside Automotive, we're joined by Jonathan Dawson, founder and president of Psychology Sales Training and automotive sales consultant. But first, here are today's top stories. Starting off our coverage, in a controversial turn of events, the Senate has voted to force an 11th hour deal between railroad unions and industry executives, hoping to avoid a devastating strike before Christmas. The deal used terms negotiated earlier this year, which did include a substantial pay raise, but failed to satisfy the union's request of 7 days of paid leave. This is for sick leave. In response, labor organizers had set December 9th as the strike date, despite warnings that disruptions of rail services would impede America's slowly recovering economy. The cost of sick leave is estimated to be $321 million per year, accounting to under 2% of the industry's $23.3 billion in revenue. What the next steps are for rail unions remains to be seen. Next up, Tesla's long-awaited electric semi-truck is finally on the road as of last Thursday. The Semi has been in development for 5 years after drumming up considerable excitement during CEO Elon Musk's 2016 expose. Pepsi is the first customer to receive its order, but the automaker's waitlist includes large brands such as Walmart. The rig can travel 500 miles on a single charge and uses a customized charging setup. While the vehicle's price tag has yet to be publicly announced, electric trucks are projected to save considerable money on fuel and, if widely adopted, could have a significant impact on greenhouse gas emissions. Japanese automakers have reported huge improvements in American sales since last November, with a majority achieving over 20% growth. The biggest recoveries come from Subaru and Hyundai, which saw 51.7% and 42.8% increases respectively. Hyundai's U.S. CEO Randy Parker called November a record-breaking month for the brand. Honda was the only automaker to fall behind, but only decreased deliveries by 3,901 cars from 2021. The improved market performance can be attributed to recovering supply chains and boosted inventories across the U.S., in addition to a growing interest in hybrids and electric vehicles. Wrapping up our coverage, President Biden introduced new EV incentives and biofuel requirements last Thursday as part of his plan to make the U.S. climate friendly. EV automakers will now be able to receive generous subsidies under the plan as part of the fuel efficiency credit system, a first for non-gas powered vehicles. The fuel industry will also be required to further dilute their oil deliveries with biofuel incrementally over the next several years. While the news has been welcomed by green energy advocates, oil executives have seemed more reticent to praise the new regulations. It remains to be seen whether the president's proposal will be implemented as is. Don't go anywhere. Coming up next is Jonathan Dawson, auto sales consultant and president of Psychology Sales Training. We'll be right back.
Delivering the news dealers count on for 10 years. Subscribe today and join thousands of other automotive professionals. CBT News, 10 years strong.
Jonathan Dawson is the founder and president of Psychology Sales Training, consultant, coach, best-selling author, contributing writer, and host of Mind Your Own Business right here on CBT News. Today, he walks us through strategies to better influence buying behavior on his show. Take a look.
I want to talk to you today about some issues that you hear in the industry right now, because it is like shooting fish in a barrel. You know, everything gets sold, and you don't have to be that great superstar salesperson. You just have to be the one with the car, you know, when that customer calls, clicks, or comes in, right? Mm-hmm. And it's creating some complacency out there. And,
that's an understatement?
Yeah, exactly. That's an understatement. So what do you tell your clients? What do you tell your dealer clients? How do they coach and motivate they're people during times like this, because as you know, salespeople that were used to making $4,000 or $5,000 a month are now making $8,000 and $10,000 a month, and they might make that by the 15th of the month.
Right.
How do you motivate and get that person out, selling more and getting more orders and such?
Yeah, so great question, and obviously a really common challenge right now in the market is getting people to be motivated beyond the monetary aspect of their life. People make enough money and then they tend to kind of coast.
That's right.
So from a psychology perspective, we understand, and what I try to help my management teams understand, is that the actual drivers behind people's behaviors is obviously not solely money. Money for most people is some sort of symbolic representation of something. So money means status, or money means security, or money means options. But money is essentially just, for many people, it's literally just a tool or a means by which they express some other deeper motivation.
Sure.
So from a coaching perspective and helping management teams understand this, what I tell them is you got to do more effective true one-on-ones with your people and really understand why would they care beyond their paycheck to actually prospect more, or to hit the phones more, or to care to follow up with a lead beyond the initial objections they get or resistance they get. Because if you don't understand their actual motivations and what's driving their behavior, then you can't certainly influence it any more than what the market's already doing.
Sure.
So here's a couple of basic kind of takeaways that if you're in member management right now and you're watching this, I'm going to give you ways to kind of break down your team. Now, I'm going to give them to you in fairly generalized stereotypes, but it applies enough that you should be able to look at any one of your team members and start to figure out where to move them.
Sure.
So the first thing I would ask is this person pleasure or pain motivated? So let's kind of look at it, carrot or stick, right? So are they moving towards something, or are they trying to move away from something?
Right.
Now, here's what I think. This is somewhat anecdotal, but there's enough research to show that this is basically true. The vast majority of people are actually more pain motivated than pleasure.
Okay.
What that means is that once they hit a certain comfort zone, they don't take any action. If you take enough of their pain away, they don't see any reason to do anything.
Isn't that crazy?
Right? Yeah. So that's
But
most
true.
people are that way.
Right.
And you can demonstrate this as simple as, like, if you short somebody their check by $50, they'll be cracked the whole day, right? Instead of making 5 more phone calls and making an extra $500, right?
Sure.
So the reality is most people are more afraid of losing something than they are hopeful to gain something.
Right.
So pleasure or pain, and asking the question, what is really driving them? And this is a conversation you can actually have with your people, is you could say, what would be more motivating to you if this could happen or if this didn't happen?
Right.
And have that conversation. So pleasure, pain is the first thing I would look at.
All right, be sure to watch the interview in its entirety right here at cbtnews.com. That wraps up our show for today, but we invite you to join us back here again tomorrow morning for all the latest news and trends impacting the retail automotive industry. And be sure to follow us on TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. I'm Bridget Fitzpatrick. Thanks for watching and have a great day.
Thanks for watching CBT News, the voice of the retail automotive industry. Join the #1 most watched newscast in the automotive industry. CBT News, 10 years strong. Subscribe today.